Before getting started, let me ask you this question. Did you ever start a new project or a new implementation without knowing how the data flows within a Salesforce org or any data platform? Well, it's as bad as getting into an unknown city without a GPS system. We have a problem solved of traversing through an unknown city as we got a GPS system. Well, ERD diagrams are the GPS systems that show how the data flows within a Salesforce org or any data platform. Hi, I'm Krishna Kuntamukkala. Welcome to my YouTube channel Cloud Applied. Based on ERD from Salesforce Architect's website. So let's see any good ERD diagram that we can apply for this video. Aha! Let's use Salesforce's Prodigal Son Data Cloud overview ERD diagram to understand how to read data using an ERD diagram. Isn't that exciting? It's like we are learning ERD as well as understanding Salesforce's hotshot product offering Data Cloud at one go. Yeah, for me it's like hitting one shot, two birds. Without any delay, let's get started. ERD or Entity Relationship Diagram. The name itself says that these diagrams explain how the entities are related to each other in a data flow. Okay, let's break down. What is an entity? Entity can be a person, event, concept, or an object. So in this case, let's take an example. There is a user. So this is an entity. There is an object called driver's license. There is an other object called cars. And there is another object called registration. Okay. The user is connected to driving license and a car and a registration. And car is connected to a registration. Let's take this example. So this shows how all these entities are related together. Okay. Now we know that all these entities are related to each other. Does this give any clarity on how they are related to each other? Is there any meaning to these relationships? So to explain the meaning of a relationships, there comes another concept called cardinality. So cardinality simply refers to the maximum number of times an instance in one entity refers to an instance in other entity. If you see a line like this, it means in entity 1 can have one instance in entity 2. If you see a crow leg like this, it means an instance in entity 1 can have many instances in entity 2. Okay, so now there can be another type of entity. If you see this line, it means entity 1 can have one and only one instance in entity 2. A notation like this denotes entity 1 can have either 0 or 1 instance in entity 2. This line denotes entity 1 instance in entity 1 can have one or many instances in entity 2. And one of the major other one used is this one. This last one means an instance in entity 1 can either have 0 or many instances in entity 2. Alright, you all must have got a fair understanding on entities, relationships and cardinalities. Let's take our understanding a bit further by applying our knowledge on a data cloud overview ERD diagram. As you can see in the legend, there are multiple different types of entities and relationships. But if you look deeper into them, they are pointing to what we have discussed previously in this video. So they are discussed in more granular level. Before getting further into the data cloud architecture, I wanted to scratch the surface of data cloud. I don't want to go deeper, since the purview of this video is to understand ERD diagrams based on data cloud overview. So data cloud's main USP is unifying customer. It's like connecting all data sources and unifying the profiles and cleaning the data so that it can be used by marketing for segmentation, or it can be used for analytics or AI. So data cloud really helps in organizing this data so that targeted marketing and analytics and AI can be done with greater accuracy. So as you see, there are multiple entities here, so we'll not get deeper into these entities. Let's get into the main ones here: the who, contact point and engagement. Primarily, who is nothing but the identified entity. It can be an individual or it can be an organization. And contact point is like, out of all the data you have been providing to the data cloud, so which data set do you think has a proper contact details? Because a single contact can be provided to sales team, service team, finance and marketing teams. But as a practitioner, you must have identified one data set having an accurate information about the customer. So that information is mapped to contact point whenever the DMOs are mapped. So again, this is getting deeper into the data cloud. So when you explore data cloud, you will understand the significance of contact point. Another important thing is privacy consent. So all the information that is being pooled in data cloud, it is customer PII. So it becomes really important when customer information is being used by AI systems or it is used for marketing. So the customer has to provide a go ahead to do all these things. So that is a privacy consent. That is one of the entities. And another entity is engagement action. It is nothing but how a customer is interacting with a business. So engagement actions are captured and they are connected to the contact point. So now let's get deeper into some of the relationships we have discussed. So previously in this video, we have discussed relationships that had only one arrow. The other side of the arrow was blank. But now we see both sides updating or having something. So that is nothing but it's like how both of them are related to each other. For instance, let's say account contact entity and account. So account contact entity can have only one and only account, whereas account can have 0 or more contacts. I think it is pretty much simple, So an individual can have multiple phone numbers, but the multiple phone numbers should not be assigned to multiple different people. It should be assigned to one person when the person takes a phone number. The same with here. So account contact and account is one and only one, whereas account can have 0 or more account contacts. And let's see this one. So party is a sub entity. Like I said, party can be an organization or individual. A party can have 0 or more accounts associated to it. For example, if party is a company, and company can have multiple people in it who are working with a business, or none of them are associated to the party, so it can have 0 or multiple relationship, whereas account can have 0 or one party. So party is nothing but an individual or an organization, and whenever the data is getting mapped, the data source are connected to data cloud, and the connected data cloud are connected sources are connected to DMOs, then this connections will happen. And you must have observed some of the lines, some of the relationships went to within the entity, sub-entity, whereas some relationships are just linked between entities. So it is like all the sub-entities follow the same rules of relationship with other entity. If that is the case, then entities are related. If only one of the segment follows one of the sub-entity follows the relationship in a different way, then it goes into the sub-entity. So if you see here, the entire contact point can have 0 or multiple communication subscription consent, while communication subscription consent can have 0 or 1 contact point, entire contact point sub-entities. So basically, contact point entirely deals differently with communication subscription consent in the entire entity of privacy consent. So that is the reason the relationships are towards the root entity of the overall structure. And let's walk through a couple of relationships so that gives a fair idea. And this is another kind of relationship where you have 0 or multiple. A case can have 0 or multiple work orders, while a work order can have 0 or 1 case. So this is logical here. It's like a case can have multiple work orders getting created based on the things, but if same work order is associated to multiple cases, there's a fair chance that there will be a repetition of work there by the technicians who come to finish the work order. So that is the reason it can be assigned to only one case, or a work order can be an individual entity where it can be a standalone work order without being associated to the case. So I presume that you got a fair idea on how to read architecture diagrams now, and I think you might want to explore further, because going through each and every relationship here is quite difficult, but I think it's a good start. So try to learn more, and if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section so that I can reply back. Well, that is something to work with. I hope you have a good understanding on ERD diagrams, cardinality, and how to read data flows within an architecture diagram. Also, as a bonus, you must have understood how data flows within a data cloud. Well, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more of this kind of content. See you all in the next video.